There's a man everyone in the kingdom calls uncontrollable, a sword master who locked himself away for years. Count Perdium's so-called useless oldest son, Ghislain Perdium. We open with a scene of pure chaos, a man beaten to the ground, gasping for air, staring at Ghislain in disbelief. How the hell did I lose to you? Our boy Ghislain just smirks and says, simple. I spent a lot of money to make this change. Then the camera pans out, and boom. Standing before the fallen man is Ghislain himself, towering with a massive axe in hand. The guy on the ground still can't believe it. He's muttering about how trash like Ghislain shouldn't have known his plans. But Ghislain? He cuts him off coldly. Oh, I knew everything. Your spies, your reinforcements, the little rat who sent them. I knew it all from the start. The beaten man's world shatters. He starts screaming nonsense until Ghislain, tired of the noise, kicks him in the face to shut him up. Then he declares, you can keep coming for me, but I'll win next time. And the time after that. Every damn time. You know why? Because I've got all the plans. The scene goes back to 1 year earlier, Lithania Kingdom, near the Perdium estate. Ghislain wakes up suddenly, heart pounding. He looks around and mutters, wait, what the hell just happened? Why am I still alive? Because the last thing he remembers was dying. We cut to that moment. Ghislain, standing in the middle of a bloody duel, was barely able to stand. In front of him is Aiden, one of the continent's top 7 noble knights, and a complete smug bastard. Any last words? Aiden asks. Ghislain just laughs bitterly. None. Just a shame I couldn't finish my revenge. Then Aiden smirks. So you're the oldest son of the fallen Perdium house. Figures. Ghislain freezes. How do you know that? You're from a different kingdom. Aiden shrugs. Because I worked my ass off to find you. I was one of the people who helped the Delphine household bring your family down. That hits hard. Ghislain's eyes widen. There were others behind Duke Delphine's betrayal. But before he can react, Aiden raises his sword. No point in talking. You'll be dead soon anyway. Aiden swings, and decapitates him in one clean motion. But then, Ghislain blinks. His head still on his shoulders. He looks around. Wait, is he hallucinating? Or is he somehow younger? That's when he hears a familiar voice. Young Master Ghislain! Are you awake? It's Ricardo, one of Perdium's soldiers. Ghislain's instincts kick in. He grabs Ricardo, a blade at his throat. Answer me truthfully, and I'll let you live. Ricardo's face says it all. What the hell, man? He sighs and asks. Are we crossing the line again? Ghislain, confused as hell, lets go and stares. Ricardo then adds, I'm talking about your tantrum earlier, demanding to lead the raid against the orcs. Ghislain blinks. What orcs? Now Ricardo thinks he's lost it. But he just says, come on, get ready. Everyone's waiting. We're heading to the Perdium estate. That name hits Ghislain like a lightning bolt. Wait. Perdium? As in the Perdium estate? Next thing he knows, they're standing in front of it, whole, peaceful, untouched. Ghislain's eyes widen. Because in his memory, this place was burned to ashes. Ricardo laughs nervously. What's with you today, young master? Calling your own house fallen? If the Count hears that, you will be punished. Ghislain pinches his cheek, and it hurts. So this isn't a dream. Which means, he's gone back in time. He looks at his younger reflection, no scars, no battle-worn face. Everything's like it used to be. Back then, his immaturity, his stupid decisions drove everyone away. Back before he ran off and became a mercenary, the so-called mercenary king, one of the 7 strongest men on the continent. He remembers coming home years later to make amends, only to find his home destroyed, his family gone. But now, they're all still here. For the first time in forever, Ghislain feels hope. He wants to laugh, maybe even sing. But he knows better, this isn't the time to celebrate. Because now, there is something more important, the upcoming orc raid. Ghislain remembered. That raid, in his past life, turned into a massacre. They thought there were only 3 orcs. Turns out, there were over 20. And because of his arrogance, everyone died. Not this time. He clenches his fist. If those same orcs appear again, he's going to turn the tables. Suddenly, a loud crash breaks the calm. The watchtower collapses nearby. The orcs! They're here! A soldier shouts. Panic spreads like wildfire. Orcs charge out of the forest, smashing through the front line. Men scream, shields shatter, chaos everywhere. But then a voice cuts through the noise. Everyone, get in formation! Don't panic! It's Skovin, the raid squad's commander. He's doing his best to keep control, until a massive orc swings an axe at him from behind. He doesn't even see it coming. But Ghislain does. He dashes forward, shoving Skovin out of the way just in time. The axe slams into the ground, and Ghislain's blade flashes. In one clean motion, he cuts off the orc's arm. Everyone freezes. Did the useless son just do that? The orc roars, then collapses. Ghislain exhales. Still can't use mana yet. Even without magic, he's still terrifying. He turns to the stunned commander and says, calm but firm. Hand over command. I'll take it from here. Skovin's eyes narrowed. The commander couldn't believe what he'd just heard. Ghislain Perdium, the so-called reckless noble, had just asked to take command of the entire squad. Scovin clenched his jaw. This bastard might have skill, but this wasn't some sparring match, so he refused. Soldiers' lives were at stake. Ghislain didn't argue. He just gave a faint nod, thinking that honestly, he'd probably do the same if some inexperienced fool demanded leadership from him. Then, before the tension could fade, an orc roared and charged straight at him. Scovin shouted, "Ghislain, fall back!" But our boy didn't move. Instead, he drew his sword and threw it. The commander instinctively ducked. What the hell? Only to hear a heavy thud behind him. He turned around and froze. Ghislain's blade was buried deep in the orc's skull. One hit. Right in the weak spot. The monster collapsed, lifeless. Scovin could barely believe his eyes. How did you? Ghislain, unfazed, addressed the commander, stating that the key to victory on the battlefield was morale. He gestured at the soldiers, their hands trembling, their faces pale. Fear kills faster than any blade. Then he charged straight into the orc horde. Grabbing his sword from the corpse, Ghislain launched himself into the fight, slicing open one orc's gut, driving his blade through another's skull, cutting through arms, heads, everything in his path. Even Scovin, a skilled mana user, couldn't match what he was seeing. Ghislain wasn't using mana, not a single spark. Every movement was pure technique and instinct, the kind only a true sword master could pull off. But as the fight dragged on, Scovin noticed his young master slowing down, smaller movements, shorter breaths. Still, Ghislain taunted the orcs, yelling, "Come on, you bastards! You call this a warrior race? I'm not even warmed up yet." Ricardo, watching from the sidelines, blinked. Commander? Is he running away? Sure enough, Ghislain was sprinting, orcs chasing close behind. But the direction made Scovin's stomach drop. The cliff. Then it clicked. He shouted an order. Form a shield wall. Move! At the edge of the cliff, Ghislain fought desperately, holding off the orcs with every last ounce of strength. His breathing was ragged, his vision blurred, but he trusted Scovin to understand. And the commander did. Scovin and his men charged, shields up, spears out, a solid wall of steel advancing on the orcs. Ghislain grinned. Perfect timing. He looked over his shoulder and leapt off the cliff. Push them! Scovin roared. The soldiers surged forward, ramming their spears into the orcs, forcing them back. One by one, the beasts tumbled off the edge, their roars fading into the abyss below. When the dust settled, silence filled the air. They'd done it. The orcs were gone. Scovin ran to the cliff, shouting, "Ghislain!" A faint voice answered. He looked down. There he was, clinging to the cliffside, his sword jammed into the rock. Scovin reached out his hand. "Grab it!" Ghislain tried. But his strength was gone. His hand slipped, and he fell. The soldiers shouted in horror as their young master vanished into the fog below. Then darkness. A voice called out. Soft. Familiar. Elena. Memories flashed, his sister's tears, her anger, her love. Her voice begging him not to leave her behind. He opened his eyes. A dim room. A wet cloth on his forehead. He was alive. Somehow, the soldiers had saved him. As he tried to sit up, pain shot through his body. He groaned, and that's when the door opened. A woman with white hair entered, carrying a bucket. "Master Ghislain, you're awake!" Belinda, his maid, his tutor, and the one person who never left his side. Without thinking, Ghislain stood up and pulled her into a hug. Belinda froze. "And master, did I do something wrong?" He shook his head, voice trembling. "No, I'm just glad you're here." She blinked, confused. "Of course I am. I see you every day." But Ghislain knew better. In his last life, after the Perdium family's downfall, Belinda was gone. He never saw her again. Trying to keep calm, he told her something unbelievable. "Belinda, listen carefully. Something terrible is coming. I've died once before." She stared, then burst out laughing. "You must still be dizzy from the battle, master." He sighed. She didn't believe him. So she changed the subject. "If you'd been hurt worse, you wouldn't be able to take Elena to the festival next week." That name made Ghislain pause. Elena. His sister. Belinda smiled softly. "She's been waiting all year for it. Maybe it's time you two make up." Ghislain glanced at a small photo of them together, and his eyes darkened. Next week. That date was burned into his memory, because that festival was the day everything went to hell. While lost in thought, someone entered the room. Ghislain was shocked to see Elena, who had come to visit him. Without a moment's hesitation, our boy Ghislain bolts forward and, bam, wraps his little sister Elena in a sudden hug. The poor girl freezes like she's seen a ghost. Even Belinda's jaw nearly hits the floor. Ghislain just says he missed her. Heartfelt, right? Yeah, except Elena shoves him off immediately, brushing herself off like he just threw dirt on her. Ghislain stands there, stunned, not by her words, but by her strength. Since when was his little sister this strong? Turns out, Elena's only there because Belinda begged her to visit. She narrows her eyes and demands, "What game are you playing, brother? You think this fixes everything?" Ghislain, clueless, blinks. "What are you even talking about?" Then she drops the hammer. She reminds him of all the times he told her to leave him alone, that even her breathing disgusted him. And that hits Ghislain like a blade to the chest. Because in his past life, he was that kind of brother, a bitter, arrogant fool. For the first time ever, he apologizes. Belinda nearly drops dead in shock. Ghislain Perdium, apologizing? The world must be ending. Elena frowns. "Did you hit your head or something? I heard an orc smack you during that raid." Ghislain groans. "Not this again. I was the one who beat the orcs." And right as he finishes bragging, pain shoots through him. Bam, he collapses. Elena just smirks. Sure, big brother. You beat the orcs all right." She and Belinda can't stop laughing as Ghislain twitches on the floor. But deep down, seeing them laugh warms his heart. After everything, this felt right. Then his smile fades. The memory of Elena's death in his past life crashes in, her body torn apart, found near the slums. It had been the last time he ever saw her alive. Not again, he thinks. Not this time. A knock interrupts his thoughts. 2 armored men step in, Jamal and Philip, Elena's bodyguards. They're there to escort her. Apparently, the maids asked Elena to oversee festival prep. Ghislain blinks. "Wait, why would the maids ask you for that?" Belinda rolls her eyes. "Because someone's been too busy rotting in his room to notice Perdium's worker shortage." Ghislain's jaw tightens. She's right. His old self never cared. When Elena turns to leave, he blurts out, "Let me help." Both girls freeze. Elena squints. "Yeah, he's definitely concussed." In town, workers hustle around. Elena's barking orders, Ghislain trailing behind her like a lost puppy. She groans. "You're scaring them. Just stand somewhere else." But as she talks, he can't help staring. The last time he saw her, she'd been found dead. And now, he vows, not this time. He'll learn every inch of this castle, every alley, every threat that could touch her. Suddenly, an old voice calls out, "My lord!" It's Fergus, an old loyal soldier. The man's sweating bullets, relieved to see Ghislain alive. He calls himself a lowly servant. But to Ghislain, this man's loyalty is priceless. Elena jokes to Fergus. "Mind escorting my weird brother back to his room?" "He's not, well." Fergus nods instantly, leaving Ghislain fuming. His hooligan rep really is haunting him. But instead of giving up, he tells Fergus to take him to the abandoned training field. The old soldier hesitates. "Training, my lord?" Ghislain's eyes sharpen. "Yeah. It's time I stopped wasting my life." To his surprise, the field's immaculate, maintained, polished, waiting for him. Fergus admits he kept it ready all these years, hoping Ghislain would return. Ghislain smiles faintly. "You were right to believe in me. I'm gonna live a long life this time." "Dying sucks." Fergus flinches. "You speak like someone who's done it before." Ghislain just chuckles. "Maybe I have." When Fergus leaves, Ghislain sits cross-legged, closing his eyes. It's time to start again, from nothing. Mana. The breath of the world. Most people struggle to even feel it. But for Ghislain, it's instinct. Like reaching out and pulling the air itself into his veins. He forms 1 core, then 2, and then, pain hits. Blood drips from his nose as he pushes for a 3rd. He collapses, trembling. In his past life, he could form 5. Damn it. He's weaker now. But he's still alive. He grits his teeth. "I'll master this again. I'll fix everything. And when I'm ready. Aiden, Delphine, I'm coming for you bastards." The night of the festival. Ghislain shows up in full gear, shocking everyone. Elena stares. You came to the festival?" He shrugs. "As heir of Perdium, it's my duty." She frowns. "You've really changed. People are saying you've been training nonstop." He gives a weak grin. "Just doing what I should have done long ago." For once, Elena smiles. "You know, it feels like I have my brother back." As they walk, Ghislain spots Belinda giving orders to Elena's guards, Jamal and Philip, telling them to watch him carefully. Irony's got jokes. He spends the day quietly observing, waiting. But nothing strange happens. Elena relaxes, chatting with her brother. Then, a soldier approaches, saying there are new events nearby. He invites Elena to join him. She beams, grabs his hand, ready to go. And in that instant, Ghislain freezes. So, they were the very ones who betrayed her. Our boy Ghislain couldn't believe what he was seeing. Jamal and Philip, the knights who'd once sworn their lives to protect Elena, standing there like traitors. These bastards had fought and bled for his sister since she was a kid. How the hell did it come to this? Jamal smiles like nothing's wrong. Welcome, my lady. Elena blinks, confused. The so-called event they came for is just an empty, overgrown dump. She laughs nervously. You're kidding, right? You're performing here? Jamal stammers something about delayed preparations, but the sweat on his brow says otherwise. While they talk, Ghislaine's eyes dart around. Every escape path's been blocked. This isn't a stage. It's a damn trap. Elena tugs at his arm. Let's go. But Jamal insists they stay, just for a performance. Elena crosses her arms. Yeah, no thanks. Ghislaine tries to lighten the tension. Sis, do you work out or something? You're scary strong. Before she can reply, Philip steps out, face dark, tone colder than steel. Wait, my lady. Elena's patience snaps. What's wrong with you two? You're acting weird. Jamal sighs, guilt flickering for half a second. Forgive us, but a request has been made. 3 men appear. 2 in black, the leader in a blue coat, Frank. The guy oozes danger. Frank smirks. Well done, gentlemen. You've delivered your mistress. Jamal bows, proud of his betrayal, as promised. Our deal is done. Then Frank notices Ghislaine and frowns. I didn't ask for him. Elena clutches her brother's arm, fear rising. Jamal laughs. He followed us on his own. Guess he's eager for the grave. Ghislaine glares. Do you really think you can run after this? Jamal scoffs. Run? My friend, we're leaving this rotten county. I'm done dying for peasants and raids. Then die as one. In a flash, slash. Jamal's chest bursts open. He collapses, armor clattering as his lifeblood stains the dirt. Ghislaine wipes his blade clean. Those who left never sold out their own. He turns to Philip. Tell me I'm wrong. Philip curses Jamal's corpse. Idiot. Dying to a fraud like you. Before he even draws, thunk. Ghislaine's sword flies, piercing his skull. 2 traitors. 2 corpses. The assassins freeze. One whispers. That's Ghislaine Perdium? The useless noble? Frank narrows his eyes. No training, no battlefield experience, and yet. He watches Ghislaine pull mana through his veins like a seasoned killer. He's something else. Elena trembles. Brother, what's happening? Ghislaine meets her eyes, then chops her neck lightly. She collapses, unconscious. Rest now, Elena. Frank exhales smoke from his pipe. Well, that saves us the trouble. I was planning to kill those 2 traitors myself. He steps forward. Tell me, were you hiding this power all along? Ghislaine yanks his sword free from Philip's corpse. Why do you care? Frank's mana flares, heavy, suffocating. Ghislaine immediately senses it. This one's no ordinary thug. Who ordered this? Ghislaine demands. Frank chuckles. Why bother asking? Dead men don't need answers. Ghislaine's expression turns cold. Then I'll make the truth scream out of you. Frank waves his hand. Capture him alive. Break every bone. Let's hear him scream. The 2 men rush in. Ghislaine flicks a small firecracker. Pop. The first one hesitates, just long enough for Ghislaine to appear beside him. Stab. 1 down. The second scoffs. Cheap tricks. And swings. Ghislaine twists his blade behind his back, parries, then slices upward. Clean decapitation. Frank lunges from the smoke, his sword aimed at Ghislaine's back. But Ghislaine blocks it, with a second sword. Frank's eyes widen. Impossible! Ghislaine shoves his blade down, pivots, and slices across Frank's neck, sending his pipe flying. But instead of falling, Frank grins. His wound glows faintly, reinforced by mana. Impressive. Frank growls, rubbing his neck. If not for that, I'd be dead. Ghislaine tightens his grip. This man's no pushover. Frank smirks. Let's end this, boy. Show me where that strange swordplay came from. The air hums with mana. With a menacing smile, he promised that Ghislaine would meet his end here. Shoving Ghislaine backward, Frank mocked his meager mana, confidently assuring him of defeat. Frank's grin fades the moment Ghislaine smiles back. Something about that calm expression feels wrong, too calm for a man supposedly on the losing end. Before Frank can blink, Ghislaine parries his blade, throws off his balance, and plants a brutal kick right in his face. Frank stumbles back, wipes the blood from his lips, and smirks. Nice hit, but that's pointless against mana reinforcement. Seconds later, Frank coughs up blood and drops to his knees, eyes wide with disbelief. His mana shield, shattered. Ghislaine walks forward, calm as death itself, muttering that he'd always suspected someone behind his sister's assassination, but never expected this. Then it happens. His aura surges, his third core ignites, the air ripples, Ghislaine vanishes from sight, reappearing right in front of Frank. Each strike comes faster, heavier, like a storm of blades. Frank barely blocks before his sword splinters apart. The final blow sends him crashing against the wall, Ghislaine's blade buried deep in his chest. Pinned there, choking on pain, Frank refuses to speak. So Ghislaine tightens his grip, voice low and sharp. Who sent you? Frank laughs, pulls a hidden dagger, planned to take Ghislaine's sister with him. Big mistake. Then glowing threads whips out binding his wrist mid-swing, Ghislaine's controlling the mana threads. The assassin's face twists in shock. When the hell did you? Ghislaine leans close, voice icy. If you want mercy, talk. When Frank hesitates, Ghislaine drives the sword deeper. You're tough. You can heal. But once I shatter your mana core, no one's saving you. Frank's eyes go wide as the blade hums with power. You're insane. You'll blow us both up. Ghislaine just smiles. Only amateurs lose control. Frank finally breaks. It was Count Desmond, he screams. He wanted a war between Perdium and Degard. Ghislaine freezes. Desmond? That bastard shouldn't even be involved. The strings lead higher, straight to Duke Delphine. Rage flashes through him. He demands to know if Desmond was behind his sister's attack. Frank confirms it with a bloody grin. Ghislaine doesn't hesitate, he finishes it. Frank wheezes. You promised to put the sword away. Ghislaine smirks. Funny. You never kept your promises either. The assassin starts laughing, even as blood drips from his lips. Kill me, it won't matter. Perdium's already doomed. Who would ever trust you, Ghislaine? Ghislaine slams his head into the wall. You're wrong. This time, everything changes. His sword glows bright, then silence. A blinding burst erupts, echoing like fireworks in the night sky. When the light fades, Frank's body hits the ground. Ghislaine staggers, blood dripping from his mouth. Detonating 3 cores used to be easy. He mutters, coughing. Guess I'm getting rusty. But he's not done yet. Inside a nearby shack, he finds 2 corpses, one of the daggered heir and his knight. In his past life, there had been 3. Now, he understands, their deaths were staged to frame his sister. Without hesitation, he sets the place ablaze. Flames consume the evidence as he lifts his unconscious sister into his arms. Walking through the inferno, Ghislaine swears under his breath, they won't win this time, and as the smoke rises, a shadowed figure watches from the tree lean, then slips away into the dark. The scene shifts to a dimly lit chamber, a round table filled with anxious, sharp-eyed men. The air is thick with tension as one trembling spy delivers the news. The assassination failed. The council members erupt in disbelief. Failed? How the hell could Frank and 2 knights fail a simple hit job? The spy stammers, his voice shaking. It was Ghislaine Perdium. The room falls silent. Then laughter erupts, bitter and mocking. Ghislaine? That useless bastard of the north? Don't insult our intelligence. But the spy insists. No, my lords, he's not the same man anymore. The Ghislaine I saw fought like a monster. That wipes the smirks clean off their faces. The council leans forward, uneasy. The spy continues, desperate to defend his life. Our plans to eliminate the Degard family remain intact. I only need another chance. I swear I can fix this. Another chance? One noble sneers. You can't even gather intel on a single man. The argument stops when a cold voice cuts through the noise. From the end of the table, a man on a throne speaks. That's enough. Let him talk. The spy drops to one knee. My lord, I can eliminate Ghislaine through a duel. The council murmurs in confusion. A duel? With who? The spy smiles faintly. Cain Lois. That name alone silences the room. Cain, the northern prodigy, famed for raw, brutal swordsmanship. The man who fought with sheer strength alone. And more importantly, Ghislaine's own cousin. The shadowed man on the throne narrows his eyes. If you fail again, you won't be asking for another chance, and the scene shifts to the Perdium training hall. Fergus, his old steward, walks in. Young master, it's time for your meal. A blur flashes. The sword shoots across the room, nearly cutting him. Ghislaine reels it back with a glowing thread tied to his fingers. Fergus freezes stunned. What was that? Mana thread? Ghislaine replies, eyes calm. A way to control mana like a string. Fergus stares, awestruck. I've never seen such a technique. Then, noticing the man still standing awkwardly, he asks. What is it? Something on your mind? Fergus bows low. I want to thank you, young master. For saving Elena. Ghislaine blinks, momentarily caught off guard. I just did what I had to. Cut to the next day. The festival, cancelled. Elena vents her frustration in the castle hall. No one believes me, brother. You saved me, and yet they call you a liar. Ghislaine waves her off. It doesn't matter. Belinda overhears, arms crossed, irritation written all over her face. Those bastards Jamal and Philip. I knew they were perverts. Ghislaine exhales in quiet relief. For now, at least, Elena is safe. But peace never lasts long in the north. He knows their enemies will strike again, and next time, he won't be able to stop them alone. That's when he makes up his mind. He needs his own army. Before he can plan further, a maid wheels in a food cart. She sets a dish before him, just one lonely slice of bread. Ghislain frowns. And where's dessert? Belinda reply. Desert? You know how our situation is. Before he can answer, shouting erupts outside. Ghislain rushes to the window, merchants, farmers, even guards, all gathered at the castle gates, shouting for compensation. A bearded merchant shout. You cancelled the festival. Who'll pay for our losses? Belinda explains grimly. The festival was the backbone of our economy. This year's cancellation ruined hundreds of traders. The county's broke. Ghislain feels a chill. Broke. He turns to Fergus. Send the soldiers. Calm the crowd. Fergus lowers his head. There are no soldiers left, my lord. Most were sent to rebuild the forest outpost after the orc attack. Ghislain thinks, monsters on one side, barbarians on the other. And now, rebellion in his own walls. Perdium is a sinking ship. He pulls Belinda aside, voice low but sharp. You handle my finances. Use whatever I have left to pay the merchants. Belinda blinks. Young master. You don't have anything left. Ghislain freezes. Belinda replied. Your father cut off your allowances months ago. A moment later, Ghislain sits alone and thinks, great. The reincarnated genius is broke. No army, no funds, no allies. As he stares out the window, thinking about how fragile Perdium has become, the door bursts open. Ricardo storms in, gasping for air. Lord Ghislain! It's Cain. He wants to see you. Ghislain's eyes narrow. That name again. Cut to a nearby tavern. Scoven, one of Perdium's knights. A single hit from his opponent had shattered his armor and sent him sprawling. Ghislain arrives just in time to see him fall. Scoven groans. And my lord, forgive me. Ghislain's jaw tightens as he looks at the man standing over the fallen knight. Cain Loges, his cousin? Grinning from ear to ear, eyes blazing with confidence. Standing before Ghislain was a hulking figure, Cain Loges, heir of the Loges county. The bastard was hard to miss. Loud, smug, and towering like he owned the place. Ghislain recognized him instantly, his cousin, and lifelong pain in the ass. Once a friend, now a rival. As Cain stomped down the stairs, Ghislain turned to Ricardo. What the hell is going on here? Ricardo sighed, rubbing his temple. He and Scoven had come to investigate a disturbance, only to bump into Cain and his escort knight. Cain had heard rumors, crazy ones, about Ghislain taking down an orc barehanded and beating traitor knights solo. When Scoven tried to explain, Cain had grabbed his jaw and snarled. So you're lying to the heir of Lois County, huh? And that was how it happened. Right now, Cain demands to know the truth because he isn't buying it, and claims he was just giving a commander a wake-up call. Then he turned to Ghislain, eyes burning with arrogance. All this nonsense started because of you. If you hadn't lied, none of this would have happened. Ghislain just stared back, unfazed. He'd seen this before. Every visit, Cain strutted around Perdium, throwing his weight like he was some royal gift to the world. People praised his confidence, but to Ghislain, it was just privilege wrapped in arrogance. And yet, instead of anger, Ghislain smiled. Cain blinked. What the hell are you smiling at? He hadn't expected that. Normally, Ghislain would have snapped. But not this time. The scene shifts to a few days ago, in the Loges estate. A man cloaked in shadows, a spy, approaches Cain with an offer. He whispers, Kill Ghislain Perdium. The esteemed one will reward your family. Cain's eyes widen. Kill my cousin? That's madness. But the spy's grin widens. We'll stage it as a duel. An unfortunate accident between heirs. He promises to disguise himself as an escort knight and orchestrate everything. Cain laughs, amused and tempted. So I just get to erase my cousin and make it look honorable? Damn, talk about opportunity. And so the plot is set. Cain leans back on the stairs, smirking. So, cousin, where's the fun? Bring me what you've prepared. Ghislain raises a brow. What are you talking about? Cain waves him off. The festival's ruined, right? Let's liven it up, some drinks, some women. You know how we roll. He grins darkly. Or am I wrong? Ghislain exhales, realizing exactly what he means. This was the same crap as always. Back then, Ghislain had been forced to pay for Cain's endless indulgence, booze, women, the works, just to avoid getting beaten. Those visits had drained his wallet dry. Now it all made sense, even Belinda's reminder that his father cut him off for reckless spending. But this time, Ghislain wasn't the same fool. He smiled again, this time with a plan. Cain, he said evenly, I'll bring what you asked for. But first, there's a debt to settle. The spy froze. That tone, cold, calm, dangerous. Kane frowned. What the hell are you talking about? Ghislain tilted his head. Every party, every drink, every woman, all paid with my gold. So you owe me. Let's say, 1,000 gold should cover it. Kane's jaw dropped. 1,000? You've lost it, cousin. That was a gift, a token of friendship. Ghislain chuckled. Friendship? You beat me up and called it bonding. He stepped closer, smirking. Pay up, or I'll collect with interest. The tavern went silent. Eyes wide, jaws dropped. No one had ever talked to Kane like that. Kane stood slowly, his shadow towering over Ghislain. You've got guts, cousin. Must be because I've been too lenient. He cracked his knuckles. Let's fix that. In one swift motion, Kane swung. Ghislain sidestepped effortlessly, his coat barely brushing the wind. The entire tavern froze. Kane growled and threw another punch, aiming for Ghislain's head. This time, Ghislain ducked low and bam, struck his ribs. Kane gasped, staggering back. Ghislain followed with a punch to the head. Kane blocked it, smirking like he just turned the tables, but instantly screamed as pain exploded through his arm. He dropped to one knee, clutching it in shock. The spy rushed over. My lord! Are you all right? Ghislain crossed his arms. Stop whining. You blocked it, didn't you? Around them, whispers spread like wildfire. But then Kane leaned toward the spy and muttered, Was my acting convincing? The spy grinned. Perfect. Everyone saw him attack first. Kane rose, feigning fury. He pulled out a blue glove, the noble symbol of a duel. Ghislain Perdium! He roared. You've disgraced nobility! You attacked without cause! Before he could finish, Ghislain smirked, and threw his glove straight into Kane's face. I challenge you, Kane Loges! Ghislain declared. You insulted me as an heir, and you assaulted my knight. You've soiled the dignity of nobility. Deny it if you dare. Kane froze for half a second, then laughed coldly. You fool! You just signed your death warrant. He unsheathed his sword, eyes burning. If it's a duel you want, I'll make sure you regret it, even if it costs me my life. Ghislain didn't flinch. Instead, he called out, Ricardo! The man snapped to attention. Why yes, my lord? Bring in the merchants outside the castle. Ghislain ordered. Ricardo hesitated. My lord, what? Ghislain's lips curved into a sly, almost unhinged grin. They'll want to see this. And by the time we're done, they'll make a fortune. The festival may have been cancelled, but Ghislain wasn't about to let the city rot in disappointment. His solution? A duel. Nothing rekindles merchant spirit and tourist gold like two nobles trying to kill each other in broad daylight. The scene shifts to a makeshift stage surrounded by a roaring crowd. At the center, Ghislain Perdium versus Kane Loges. Two cousins, one bloodline, and a whole lot of bad history. Merchants scrambled to reopen their stalls, hawking snacks and trinkets to the swelling audience. And of course, where there's blood, there's betting. A chubby merchant bellowed. Place your bets. Kane Loges for the win. And damn near everyone threw their gold on Kane. The guy's a walking mountain. Of course they expected Ghislain to get flattened. Kane smirked, resting his massive sword on the ground. So this is what you've done, cousin? Turned a sacred duel into a circus? He grinned darkly. Don't think I'll stop swinging, even if you beg. Ghislain didn't flinch. Enough people have gathered. Let's begin. Just then, the spy chimed in, pretending to play fair. Hold up. A bet can't start until both sides have wagers. The merchant laughed. Oh, no one's betting on him. The merchant then added. All right, new bet. How long will he last before getting crushed? The crowd roared. But then, put this on Ghislain Perdium. All heads turned. Scovin, bruised, limping, but proud, placed a heavy bag of gold on the table. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Then came Elena. She dropped an even bigger bag beside it. I'll bet on my brother. Even Ghislain blinked, caught off guard. Kane groaned. Enough of this. Start the damn duel already. Ghislain smiled faintly. Since I'm your elder cousin, it'd look strange if I attacked first. Kane scoffed. It's far too late for you to play big brother. Kane lunged forward, his heavy sword cleaving through the air. Ghislain blocked, barely. The sheer force sent tremors up his arm. Kane chuckled. What's wrong, cousin? Too weak to stand tall? He slammed his hilt into Ghislain's chest, shoving him back. He twisted his grip, grabbing the blade itself and swinging the hilt like a club. Ghislain blocked, but Kane caught him with the hilt, flinging him into the air. The crowd screamed. It looked like a killing blow. Belinda grabbed Elena's arm, panicked. Stop this before he gets killed! But midair, Ghislain whispered. I wanted to go easy on you, cousin, but you've crossed the line. He landed, perfectly, mana surging through his legs. Then, like lightning, he charged. Cain barely had time to blink before Ghislaine's blade tore across his stomach. The spy's eyes widened. Mana, in his legs? Ghislaine stood tall, voice calm. Your swordsmanship is ignorant. You think strength makes you invincible. You've never fought someone who stopped fearing you. He raised his sword. Allow me to open your eyes. Cain roared and charged again, swinging wildly. Ghislaine kicked the sword aside, sidestepped, and slashed down his cousin's shoulder, smooth, surgical, merciless. Before Cain could react, Ghislaine pressed the blade under his foot, trapping it, then dragged a near-fatal cut across his neck. Blood trickled. The crowd froze. Then chaos erupted, cheers, disbelief, merchants screaming about refunds. Scoven grinned, pride shining through his bruises. Cain staggered, staring at the shallow cuts. He realized, Ghislaine could have killed him. But didn't. What the hell are you? Cain gasped. Ghislaine dropped his sword, the clatter echoing through the silence. The difference between us is too big, he said calmly. I don't need a blade. The audience went dead quiet. Cain's jaw tightened. What did you just say? Ghislaine rolled up his sleeves, that calm smile never fading. I'll use this duel to teach you something, cousin. He declared that the lesson would be delivered with his bare knuckles. Ghislaine, the so-called useless heir, just announced that he was gonna educate Cain, his hulking, smug cousin who'd been swinging his sword around like he owned the place. Cain blinked, baffled. Educate me? The hell was that supposed to mean? Ghislaine, calm as ever, clarified, his swordsmanship was superior. In fact, so superior he'd give Cain a handicap. No blades. Just bare hands. And to make things even spicier? He doubled the bet, thousands more gold on the line. The crowd lost their damn minds. Gasps, whispers, even the spy in the corner was stunned, his smirk fading as realization hit. This wasn't arrogance. This was confidence. The dangerous kind. And one poor merchant screaming, "He's insane!" echoed across the square. The merchant announced the new terms, a bare-handed duel between the cousins. Bets were placed again, half the crowd thinking Ghislaine had lost his mind, the other half betting that the useless son might just pull off a miracle. Cain scoffed, dropping his coat and raising his sword. If you want to die barehanded, he growled, so be it. He charged like a bull, blade gleaming, but Ghislaine just sidestepped, barely moving. Cain swung again, a heavy, killing blow. Ghislaine dropped low, rolled beneath it, and countered with a clean strike to Cain's thigh. Bam! Before Cain could blink, a second hit cracked against his jaw. The brute stumbled, eyes wide in disbelief. Cain hit the dirt, dazed. Infuriated, Cain roared and swung wildly, sword slashing through air, but Ghislaine flowed between his attacks like water. In a blink, he twisted Cain's arm, locked it, and kneed him square in the ribs. The crack echoed across the stage. Blood sprayed. Cain coughed violently, barely staying conscious. His strikes came one after another, relentless and precise. By the time he stopped, Cain's face was a swollen mess. Grabbing him by the hair, Ghislaine spoke coldly. Your father, Count Lowe's, once bled himself dry for hours. Out of loyalty. Out of friendship. But you? His grip tightened. You threw all that away. Those words hit harder than any punch. Cain's mind drifted, to years ago, when he'd yelled at his father for wasting resources on House Perdium. Why keep helping them when we can barely feed our own? He'd shouted. But his father's answer had been simple. Because Count Perdium is my friend. Cain's vision blurred, past and present colliding, until Ghislaine's fist came flying toward him. He flinched, but the blow never came. Instead, Ghislaine stopped inches from his face. That's enough, he said quietly, extending a hand. Cain, beaten and breathless, lowered his head. I concede. And just like that, the impossible happened. The crowd erupted, chanting Ghislaine's name, losing their minds as their useless lord became a damn legend. Elena practically bounced with joy, while Belinda stood frozen, mouth open. Even the spy, furious and humiliated, stormed forward. You lost after a scratch, he barked at Cain. But Cain just muttered. It's over. I'm done. The spy's rage only grew, until Ghislaine turned to him with that dangerous smirk. Oh, don't look so sour, he said, clapping the man's shoulder. You're buying drinks and meat for everyone here. The spy stammered. Wait, I never agreed. But Ghislaine tightened his grip. You did when you lost. Don't worry, it's your contribution, not from the pot. Then, his voice dropped to a low, deadly whisper. Try to run, and I'll collect it myself. The next morning, Ghislaine sat in his room, staring at a chest overflowing with gold, the reward of his victory. Enough to hire a small army. Enough to turn the tables. He smiled faintly. I won't get this chance again. But before he could plan his next move, Elena peeked in. So, brother, what are you gonna do with all that gold? She teased. Ghislaine smirked. Why? You want some? She laughed, but before she could reply, Belinda chimed in, arms crossed. Oh, I already know, she said confidently. Lady Amelia's birthday is coming up, isn't it? You went through all that trouble just to buy her something fancy. Elena, surprised, questioned whether her brother was truly working so hard to impress his fiancée. Ghislaine seemed startled, unaware of having a fiancé. Ghislaine stared at his sister, dumbfounded. Wait, fiancé? He asked, dead serious. Belinda sighed and rolled her eyes. Oh, stop pretending, my lord. There's no need to fake ignorance just because you're embarrassed. Elena chimed in, grinning. We're talking about Lady Amelia Rayfold, remember? At the mention of that name, Ghislaine's expression darkened. Amelia Rayfold, beautiful, kind, adored by her people. The perfect noblewoman. But to him? She was a spider. Elegant, deadly, and patient. Once celebrated as the jewel of Rayfold County, Amelia would later become infamous, the Witch of the North, whose rebellion would help bring Perdium to ruin. Ghislaine's faint smile carried a venom of its own. When's father returning? He asked casually. In a week, Belinda replied. Good, he said, rising to his feet. That's more than enough time. I'll be paying Rayfold a visit. Belinda blinked. But it's not even her birthday yet. Why go now? Ghislaine's grin sharpened. Because I'm not bringing a gift. I'm going to collect one. The sound of soft shoes on stone. A noblewoman, stunning, graceful, slipped them off and placed them before a poor girl trembling in disbelief. You deserve these more than I, Amelia said softly. I alone should walk barefoot upon this land. Her red eyes glowed like embers as she ordered her soldiers to hand out food and shelter to the starving. The crowd bowed in awe, praising her kindness. But behind that angelic smile was calculation. Later, in the garden of Rayfold Manor, Amelia reclined on a chair as a man knelt at her feet, her escort knight, Bernarf, polishing her shoes, cleaning her feet, silent and obedient. Petting a cat perched on the table, Amelia mused. Father always demanded absolute obedience. But people follow whoever keeps them warm and fed. Bernarf chuckled. Brilliant as always, my lady. With hearts like theirs, you'll win the succession for sure. Amelia's foot struck his face lightly. Flattery doesn't suit you, Bernarf. She leaned forward, her tone cool. Now, the duel. The Northern Swordsman. Any updates? Bernarf bowed. I refrained from joining, my lady. Drawing attention now could disrupt our plans. He lowered his head to kiss her foot. The time to reveal your claws hasn't come yet. Until then, my blade is yours. Amelia smiled thinly. Of course you are. I made you that way. Then she shifted tone. What of the merchants? Bernarf rose smoothly. All proceeding well. The Arxium Guild is buying up materials for the Beast Forest outpost, under Perdium's name. We've also diverted their annual support funds to us. And many of their soldiers are joining our ranks. Amelia nodded approvingly. Good. Keep the guild's operations ordinary. The last thing we need is suspicion before the web is complete. But before Bernarf could respond, a steward hurried into the garden. Bernarf snapped. Who gave you permission to interrupt? The steward didn't flinch. My lady, news from the gate. Lord Ghislaine Perdium has come to visit. Amelia's eyes narrowed. Ghislaine? Why? A moment later, inside the hall. Ghislaine sat calmly at the table, wearing a rough coat, holding a single flower. When Amelia entered, he smiled warmly. Lady Amelia. It's been some time. She sat across from him, her tone sharp. You arrive unannounced, uninvited, and unescorted. Do you not understand etiquette? Ghislaine chuckled. My apologies. I only came to bring an early birthday gift. He placed the flower before her. Beautiful, isn't it? Picked it up from a local merchant guild. The Arxium Guild, they do good work. I plan to buy more from them soon. Amelia's brow furrowed. What exactly are you implying? She stood. If that's all, I'll be taking my leave. But as she turned, Ghislaine's voice hardened. Sit down. That tone, cold, commanding, froze her in place. The timid young man she once knew was gone. He lifted his teacup. I won't waste your time. I need gold, a lot of it. Amelia blinked, caught off guard. Gold? Does your father know of this? No, he said simply. And he doesn't need to. Just give it to me. Then, calmly, he poured his tea onto the floor. You never planned to marry me, did you? Her composure faltered, just for a second. Ghislaine continued, voice steady. It'd be quite the scandal if the world learned the truth about how the beloved Lady Amelia is secretly building an army. Amelia remains calm. A bold imagination, Lord Ghislaine. Ghislaine smiled faintly. Oh, don't worry. Your secret's safe, for now. But if I walk out of here empty-handed, well, who knows? Her expression turned icy. That will never happen. Bernarf. The knight entered, bowing stiffly, hand on his chest. Ghislaine's eyes narrowed. He remembered this man. Loyal, lethal. He turned back to Amelia. If you kill me here, you'll start a war. Can you handle that? Amelia's smirk returned. If an unruly guest barged in, made threats, and was cut down by my escort knight, I doubt anyone would question it. Kill him. Bernarf drew his sword. Ghislaine's expression hardened. The game was over, and now, it was time to fight.